Ron Tongan, choreographer, dancer, director, many things, but most importantly, an artist. Why dance to tell your story? Why dance to change the world?
I think there's a theme about transformation, like finding broken things or lost things or old things and turning them into something beautiful, I think, was my initial inspiration. It's almost in response to maybe being in environments of challenge and of chaos and looking for how to create beauty there. And at a certain point in my life, I still love making things, but there was a point at which I wanted to be inside of it, to embody it.
So what makes you tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that continue to use this as your mechanism to not just change the world, but change us, the people around you?
About 10 years ago, I had a huge health struggle, a huge kind of life or death battle. And I actually lost the ability I lost my whole entire physicality. At that time, I had a lot of visions and dreamings. So I had a way of seeing the world, a way of understanding the world that I wanted to translate into life. And because I was in such a diminished physical form at that time, I had to translate it onto other bodies, and that's actually choreography.
Water needs to be impounded in huge quantities and moved to where a power plant's going to be located.
And as women, we are carriers of water in our bodies when we carry life.
Our indigenous world is so storied. Everything is symbolic, and I'm very attracted to that in many different cultural forms. Symbolism, archetype, and just the fact that everything has a story. And to be able to express those stories in a non-linear, non-narrative fashion. So go to the essence of the story and become it. What I have is not to serve myself and my ego, but it's to serve to strengthen communities by remembering, reviving, reinterpreting these stories, making them available to people to experience. So that theme of transformation that I spoke about can also take the form of renewal. It's not that it transforms, as a dancer you can, I love that in dance you can become a snowstorm, you can become an ancient ancestor, you can become so many different things, you're not limited.
It's interpretive, and dance is a language in and of itself.
Absolutely.
You do a good bit of work around dance and the environment. What's the conversation there? What's the dialogue there?
I look at it and okay, well, what is the role of dance in our society? What is the purpose? What has it been in ancient societies? And my understanding is that it's for functional ritual. What is it that we have the duty to speak about, to create messages around, so that there's a purpose for it?
Love in her voice.
I think the issues of the time that are most resonant with me are about our environment. I think possibly also because of the illness that I faced as a fairly young woman, that there might be reasons in the environment that are causing a lot of illnesses for a lot of people, different levels of illnesses. And so this idea of healing, personal, social, community, and environmental transformation is an impetus to my work.
You spoke in the earlier question about dreams. I like that, and I want to connect that, the visual of dreams and creation, especially, to the mythology that is often cited in your work. Can you talk a little bit about that cultural connection to the mythology in your work?
Sure. There's some great quotes that I can't quite remember, but for instance, Joseph Campbell, who cited that the history and philosophies of other people are mythology.
Right.
I totally resonate with that, in that I think of mythology more as history, and that every culture has it. And sometimes, that culture, you sort of that looks like such beautiful mythology. But for example, in many of our Native American stories, there's core information about our world. For example, about coming down from the stars, for example, in some stories. And now science and DNA catches up, and they are able to say, all of life on Earth, all of matter comes from carbon, which is from the heart of dying stars. And there's stories about that. I mean, that's certainly what inspires me as well, to sort of take these stories and translate them into movement so that these really important information about how to live on Earth can be sustained and renewed.
Water is meaningful to me. Water is my life and my family.
And you've been able to bring this philosophy of your work to some of the things that you've done for film, like Apocalypto and New World. You spoke a little bit about the decolonization of the body and in that experience. So could you briefly share a little bit of that with us?
Well, that sort of brings us to the brief history of Indigenous contemporary theater and dance. So there's a few people who have been pioneering this, maybe say the 60s or 70s, around the time of the AIM movement and like civil rights era. And basically, there's threads that I connect with through some of those innovators. For example, in Canada, around that time, the great playwright Thompson Highway, his dancer brother Rene Highway, who ended up being collaborators with Raul Trujillo and Alejandro Monteria. These are all people whose work I know them, they're mentors, and the premise that they had and that I had separately was, how can we look at theater and dance and create from an indigenous place, which is decolonized in the sense that we do not have to bring in Western theater conventions unless we choose to. Mm-hmm. If we want to be in a 4-square space with lighting, we can, and we can also question how can we indigenize these elements based on, like I didn't know until fairly recently, like 10 years ago, I thought that Native theater had not existed in theater form. And then I was educated on that, like, oh, actually in the Northwest, they had longhouses with long tubes of logs with fire going through that created very sophisticated lighting for operas that lasted maybe days, maybe weeks, maybe the entire winter. So I look at decolonizing the theater practice and also decolonizing the body. I think there's a lot that society has told us about bodies that is not appropriate.
With Dancing Earth, what I really love is the idea of dance being an education and a liberation. And I thank you for being part of that, Roland. And thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you.